Hello, everyone. I will be speaking about Saturn, who is becoming direct. He is becoming direct on 23rd of October, just 2 days before the eclipses. Now, of course, ma, the interesting and the powerful energy around this motion of Saturn, most powerful of these energies are 1 week before and 1 week after, meaning we will experience his turning into direct motion until almost 30th of October. And all this is happening around the eclipses. What is so interesting about this transit of Saturn? Very, very interesting. If you remember, I keep repeating this celestial configuration, but I cannot forget it. It is very important. In the first, I think, first, second, 3rd of August, we had the great conjunction of Uranus, Mars, Rahu. So they met on the 24th degree of Aries. And they were then squared by Saturn, who was retrograde at that time. Saturn is retrograde for quite some time, 141 days classically, he's retrograde. So they met, they formed conjunction in the 24th degrees of Aries. And guess what? Mars is turning direct in the 24 degrees of Capricorn, from where he's squaring the degrees of their conjunction. Now, also now as we speak, Mars and Uranus are forming almost exact square. This is intensifying the current situation of the world, the warlike, the hostilities, all that is taking place. Now, who is Saturn? Saturn of the Babylonians was god Ninurta, ruler of agriculture, the wise man, the lord of karma, the lord of tears, very, very, very high level divinity. He allowed the waters, he opened and allowed the waters to bring the flood on earth. So he is lord of karma. This is what I'm telling you with this. He's very special. He's married with Gula, the Lyra, Gula, which is the healing goddess. Brilliant, brilliant divinity. So Ninurta is not just lord of agriculture or somebody who is bringing the karma to us. He is very ancient, spirit, very important. While retrograde, classically, he is slowing down the energies of what he means, energies of justice, morals, karmic lessons, deepest of the ancient knowledge. And now he's turning retrograde to speed up the process of fulfilling the karma of what he means in Capricorn. And he's ruling Capricorn. He's the great lord of Capricorn. So this is what will be happening until he leaves Capricorn on 23rd of January of 2023. And after that, the energies will change drastically. I will make very detailed analysis on that separately. But still, he turns direct on 23rd of October, and he will be passing from 24th degree to the 30 degrees of Capricorn, which are sections partially ruled by Mars and then by Saturn. So very intensive, very much intensified energy of bringing the karma. How I see this happening, I will tell you. Saturn is the old, he's the governmental structure, and there will be this emphasis on the degree of change. Governments will be falling. Governments will be experience dramatic change, like the structures will fall apart. And you saw symbolically what happened. 2,300 years ago, Alexander the Great passed after Uranus, Rahu, Mars met. Now, English Queen passed. And these are all ominous events of structures which will fall in order new structures to come and be built. Doesn't mean that it will become easy for us immediately. We still need to go through historical changes. We need to. It is just happening. But I will remind you of another historical significant event on the sky, which was, I made separate video, if I remember well, it was on 18th of August, the Malaka Yoga, the garland on the sky, when all planets were separate, alone in a zodiacal sign, a very rare configuration called garland, meaning garland when you have garlands, when you are celebrating. In the end, we will be rewarded for our patience, but he still needs to go he will fasten the energies around governmental structures. He will be wiping off the old because there is a war on the sky. Saturn will be squared by Uranus and he's turning direct exactly in the 24th degree where Uranus, Rahu, Mars met in August. This is very, very, very significant, and you will see how October and until mid-November minimum, the times will be very intense. Very, very, very. I'm a little bit worried from, some, I mentioned it in previous video, some war developments which can be devastating. That's why it's our responsibility now to pray and to keep very high our vibrations with connection with the Creator, because we should know that all what is happening is made and is allowed for a reason. So I'm very, very faithful, and I'm not worried at all. I know we have to go through, our souls chose this moment, very intense. The Chinese say, oh, I wish you to live in interesting times. Well, we live in interesting times, exceptional times. So exceptional period for us will be October, November, not very easy, but it will pass, like everything passes. So it will be intensified also by the eclipses. I spoke a lot about the eclipses. You can see my video on October. I speak about the eclipses there. Maybe you'll find it informative if you haven't seen it. So yes, Saturn direct until 24th of October, all the time in Capricorn, where he has to do his last attempts. His last attempt is not a good word, because he doesn't only make attempt, he completes, he achieves, so he last efforts to fulfill the karma for us and for the humanity. For us, what? For us, of course, changes on different levels. Very intense for people who have, actually for every one of us, for people who have sidereal ascendant Capricorn, people who are ruled by Saturn, who have strong Saturn in their horoscopes. Now, here comes the thing that Saturn is very karmic planet based on how he is placed in your horoscope. We will know what these Saturnian movements will bring you, because Saturn is very, very, very interesting, rich, amazing, specific planet, the Lord of Karma. So, but this information again, it's very much to depend on how Saturn is placed in the individual horoscope and how he's influencing, how he's placed in the horoscope, whether people are born in the day and night, and then many, many, many other factors in order to determine. So basically, yes, we can expect more intensified times, not necessarily bad, but like I told you, usually on the collective, they may not be very easy, simply because the planets on the collective exhibit the more difficult of their influences due to the level of our collective consciousness. So this is more or less what is happening. Expect intensified karma. intensified in the countries, influence on the levels of their of governmental structures falling, corruption being shown. You know, it will be very, very, very intense. Like Saturn will speed up before leaving. He will speed up tremendously. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is about Saturn. It is not very detailed, but you already know we spoke a lot about Saturn in Capricorn. If you want more information, of course, you can, if you want, you can study with us. All links are under, or we can see personally your horoscopes. Also links for that are under this video. But in general, we're quite familiar with his energy, because I've been discussing this from day one, much before he entered Capricorn. I've been telling you a lot about his energy, which I love actually, because it seems to be very much about justice and morals. And we certainly need to go through these changes. So also you see through the ages, Saturn had different appearances. From the Babylonians, he was Ninurta, the wise man. Later he was Kronos, a little bit different energy of the Greeks. You know, he was then a giant, Titan. But again, he remains the Lord of Karma, the Lord of Time. He's ruling time. And that's why you will see how, when he becomes retrograde now, how will he speed up energies for fulfilling the karma for the world, for the countries, for the governments. And it will be interesting. Watch my video if you want about Mars and his transit, and all the best. Remember to be very disciplined, very brave, very courageous, and very moral during this period of time, so that you go through these changes in a very harmonious way. All the best.